On June 2, 2017, an anonymous user posted a thread on 4chan's paranormal board. The thread reads as follows. Does anyone remember that virus from the early 2000s that messes with your games? My older brother swore it screwed up his copies of Diablo and Quake. Weird textures, NPCs acting strange, crashes, etc. I feel like I'm going insane because no one ever talks about it. Please tell me someone else remembers this. Initially, there would be little to no activity on the post for a few days, until the post started to get some traction with lots of replies, not trolling or dismissals as one might expect, but confirmations and confessions. Accounts of strange glitches, corrupted save files, and unusual in-game behaviors began to circulate on the thread. The reply count reached to around 100, and nearly all of them recalled experiences with the aforementioned virus, with some being more unnerving and eerie than others. While some have stated that the thread might be based on nothing more than a series of fabrications, people soon pointed out that the comments were believable and clearly not the kind of stuff a troll would post. Anonymous, June 2, 2017, Friday, 20 hours 16 minutes and 47 seconds, number 73,586,487. Holy, I thought I imagined that. That thing ruined my Unreal Tournament 03. Bots would spawn and die randomly without any contact. At times they would just stand there, staring at my soul. That shit gave me nightmares for days. Anonymous, June 12, 2017, Monday, 18 hours 23 minutes and 45 seconds, number 73,586,667. You guys are lying, that never happened. It sounds like one of those shitty stories people make up to scare themselves. Anonymous, June 12, 2017, Monday, 21 hours 23 minutes and 45 seconds, number 73,586,744. Magic was real. My cousin's copy of Diablo 2 got corrupted by it. He said his world was completely dark, to the point where it's hard to make out anything. He later reinstalled his OS and got rid of the issue. Anonymous, June 12, 2017, Monday, 23 hours 23 minutes and 59 seconds, number 73,587,054. Have you guys ever noticed how it seemed personal? Like it knew what you were playing. It wasn't generic glitches. It always fucked with the stuff you loved the most. My Age of Empires 2 save file got bricked, and all the villagers started doing the wrong animations. Farming turned into them digging holes, and the game would lag every time I clicked anything. The post will quickly become well known on other social media sites like Reddit and Facebook, which helped raise interest in the virus and collect further proof of its existence. Since the virus had no known name at the time, it was referred to as shikaki, a Japanese word meaning a device, mechanism, and system. 2 months later, on August 2nd, a group of individuals made a subreddit that went by r/shikaki, and a Discord server named the Shikake Archives, with a focus on preserving everything related to the computer virus. Throughout their search, they managed to find long-forgotten videos, photos, and even a few brief interviews with those who came across it. Eventually, one of the members got a hold of the virus in one of their old hard drives, confirming its existence. Things got better and better for the group, until the owner announced in late 2019 that they were ending the hunt for personal reasons. Both the server and subreddit would be deleted shortly thereafter. To preserve the story for you readers, I did however manage to gather everything I could find, including recovered files and first-hand accounts. Everything will be discussed in this blog entry. Please use caution when reading some of the content here. Shikake was first reported in the summer of 1995, after an innocent-looking email attachment infected Macintosh, Windows 3.x, and Windows 95 computers. The attachment titled Important.info.doc appeared as a simple Word document, but was in fact an executable file. When the virus was activated, it became embedded in the system and began generating blank error messages every 10 minutes. Rather than being disastrous, users frequently characterized these early encounters as mildly annoying. The activity would occasionally stop when the computer was restarted. There was a brief period of speculation about the creator's identity, but it quickly died down. By a few months, the virus would become forgotten for a while. Because of its obscurity, there is not much documentation that has survived about its early counterpart. Unlike any other virus at the time, Shikake didn't cause widespread havoc. The only notable mention of Shikake's first iteration comes from a brief summary in a now-defunct British PC magazine, dated July 1995. A non-destructive executable disguised as a Word document. While its behavior is generally benign, it does display blank error messages at regular intervals. The unusual simplicity of its code has sparked speculation about its creator's intent. Users should exercise caution, but there is no need to be concerned about any serious damage. Shikake would reappear, this time via a counterfeit Winamp installer. For those who don't know, Winamp is a well-known media player application that rose to prominence in the late 90s and early 2000s. It would spread across the internet via programs like Kazaa and LimeWire, as well as fake Winamp websites and shady advertisements, claiming to have a much better modified version of Winamp with numerous plugins and other features. The installer was an exact replica of the original, though it occasionally contained grammatical errors. For example, it would say, "Thanks for install," rather than "Winamp is now installed" after installation. Once installed, the virus would alter files within your operating system while operating in the background. However, the unusual thing about the virus was that it didn't modify critical system files like any other virus would, but instead it modifies games that the user has installed on their computer. The PC would start to lag and freeze randomly during the process. According to the virus's code, it will connect to an unknown server that contains the necessary files for the modifications, and replace the original files with the modified ones, regardless of how secure your computer is. That includes maps, textures, models, sounds, and behaviors. Eventually, the lags and freezes would stop, indicating that she had a piece of cake. No, I mean indicating that Shikake completed its task. When the user launches the modified game, they will be greeted with lots of unusual changes done to their copy, although that depends on which game the user launched. These are the 5 categories of bugs discovered thus far. Type 1, Graphical distortions. Common, 80%. Simple, often subtle glitches in textures and lighting. These are the most frequently encountered effects, giving the impression of a corrupted copy of the game, with examples being: walls and floors textures would be replaced with a completely unrelated texture. NPC models briefly flicker or stretch unnaturally before returning to normal. Environmental assets, like trees or objects, load with unusual coloring. Type 2, Audio disruptions. Uncommon, 20%. Audio files in the game are replaced or altered, adding an unsettling dimension to the player, with examples being: background music is swapped with faint static, distorted sounds, and unsettling music. NPC dialogue becomes garbled, with words occasionally forming cryptic phrases. Type 3, Behavioral glitches. Rare, 10%. Characters or in-game systems behave erratically, breaking immersion in bizarre ways, with examples being: NPCs follow the player unprompted, staring at their character but refusing to speak. Enemies stop attacking and remain motionless. Players report items in their inventory being renamed to cryptic messages. Type 4, Liminal glitches. Very rare, 5%. These glitches create environments that feel dreamlike, empty, or run spaces that mimic real places with subtle distortions, with examples being: a game level inexplicably loads devoid of enemies, NPCs, or objectives, leaving the player to wander a silent landscape. Familiar areas are rendered eerily different. In multiplayer games, players report being the only one left on a map, despite the player count showing others are still connected. Shadows or figures may appear briefly in the distance but vanish before they can be approached. Lighting behaves unnaturally, with sudden shifts between day and night, or objects casting shadows that contradict their light sources. The level's music disappears entirely, replaced by ambient noise like wind, dripping water, or faint murmurs that never grow louder. Type 5, harmful triggers. Extremely rare, less than 1%. These glitches push the virus from unsettling to malicious, actively targeting the player's senses and well-being. They introduce harmful stimuli and unsettling interactions, making the game a direct threat to the player's mental or physical health, with examples being: the game displays rapid strobe-like visuals during gameplay, which can induce headaches, nausea, or seizures in sensitive individuals. Sudden bursts of high-pitched ear-piercing noises or bass-heavy rumbling distortions play without warning, leaving players disoriented or anxious. The game uses subtle personalized references, like calling the player's in-game character by their profile name on the OS, which most people name their profile after their real name. After the game crashes, strange behaviors occur in the computer itself, such as opening unrelated programs, displaying unsettling images, displaying cryptic error messages like, "You've gone too far," and looping disturbing sounds until the system is forced to shut down. Some players reported experiencing vivid nightmares about the game after exposure to these harmful triggers. The virus remained active for approximately 4 years, from 2002 to 2006, infecting Windows, Macintosh, and even Linux systems. The virus became the subject of intense discussion on numerous gaming forums. Users discussed their experiences, contrasting notes and analyzing the anomaly in their copies. Furthermore, a lot of antivirus programs did not even address the problem. Instead, the virus would either disable or corrupt the user's antivirus program. Despite the small number of investigations, no definitive source for the virus was ever identified, and by 2006, reports soon died off and the virus disappeared completely off the internet, this time for good. It was quickly discovered that the necessary servers had been mysteriously taken down, and now Shikake only tries to connect to a non-existent server. These first-hand experiences were compiled by r/Shikake and the Shikake archives, often accompanied by recovered footage, screenshots, and system logs. Here are 3 notable interviews with victims, escalating in severity from eerie glitches to life-altering consequences. Interview 1, Chris L. Glitch, Type 1. Chris was a casual fan of SimCity who encountered Shikake through an infected copy of SimCity 3000. His story reflects the more common benign glitches with the virus. Interviewer, can you walk us through what happened? How did you first notice something was wrong? Chris L. Sure. So I downloaded what I thought was a music plugin for Winamp back in maybe 2003. A week later, weird things started happening in SimCity 3000. Buildings would flicker, like their textures were swapped with static. My roads turned neon green. At first, I thought my game was just corrupted. Interviewer, did it affect anything else? Chris L. Yeah. My saves got bricked. Every time I loaded a city, it would load, but nothing would function. The citizens would complain about impossible things, like too much noise from the sky. I thought it was funny at first. But then it happened in other games too. A screen capture shows a SimCity 3000 skyline with textures flickering between static. Citizens' complaint includes a strange message that reads, "Where did the sun go?" Interview 2, Tina J. Glitch, Type 4. Tina was a longtime fan of Half-Life 2, replaying it often and even experimenting with custom maps. Her account represents an example of liminal glitches, where familiar game environments become eerie and distorted. Interviewer, so you were playing Half-Life 2 when you encountered Shikake. Can you describe what happened? Tina J, yeah, it was about 2005. I was playing through the Root Canal chapter. It's my favorite part of the game, so I knew it inside and out. But this time, right when the chapter started, I noticed something was wrong. Interviewer, what kind of changes did you notice? Tina J, Gordon didn't have his HEV suit on. He was just in normal clothes, and it threw me off because you can't even progress to that part of the game without the suit. And the crowbar? Gone. I couldn't pick up weapons or sprint. That alone was weird, but it got worse when I realized the map was completely empty, no NPCs, no enemies, and even the train at the beginning was missing. Interviewer, were there other differences? Tina J, yeah. A lot of the blockages in the level were gone. Doors that were supposed to be locked were wide open, and some obstacles like debris or barriers were missing. It was like the game wanted me to move freely. Interviewer, did you keep exploring? Tina J, I did. I was too curious to stop. But when I reached the part where the metro cop usually pushes the explosive barrel down the stairs, I noticed something was seriously wrong. The floor in that area was completely misplaced. Interviewer, what happened when you got closer? Tina J, I didn't notice the holes right away. I accidentally walked over one and fell into this huge void. As I was falling, this really unnerving music started playing, like a warped dissonant hum mixed with static. Then the screen turned completely to static, and the game crashed. Interviewer, did anything happen after the crash? Tina J, yeah. My computer didn't boot up properly for a few days after that. When I finally got it working again, my Half-Life 2 save files were all corrupted, and every time I tried to load the game, it would just crash back to the desktop. I ended up reinstalling the OS to get things back to normal. The clip starts at the beginning of Root Canal. Gordon Freeman is visibly without his HEV suit, wearing civilian clothes. The HUD is limited, missing the health and HEV energy bars. The map is eerily empty, no NPCs, enemies or environmental sounds. The player reaches the section with the barrel trap, and the camera pans over the floor, showing floating tiles and large voids. The player character steps into one of the voids, and the screen glitches, cutting to static as distorted music begins to play. The footage ends with the crash. Interview 3, Evan W. Glitch, Type 5. Evan, an avid casual young teenager who would play freeware games on his family computer, and Feeding Frenzy was one of them. His experience showcases a rare Type 5 glitch, demonstrating the malicious nature of Shikake. Interviewer, you mentioned that your experience happened while playing Feeding Frenzy. What exactly occurred? Evan W. Yeah, this was around 2004. I was playing it on my family's computer, a game I loved because it was simple and relaxing. I'd played it hundreds of times before, but this time, things went really wrong. Interviewer, can you describe what you noticed? Evan W. At first, it seemed normal. I started the game, got to level 3, and then it started to glitch. The fish I controlled, usually bright and colorful, turned a dull gray, like the texture was stripped away. And the other fish? They weren't moving. They just floated there, staring at my fish. Interviewer, were there other changes? Evan W. Yeah. The music started cutting out, replaced by this distorted underwater-like rumble. It was like listening to static through water. Then the game froze for a second, and when it resumed, all the fish, except mine, were gone. The screen went completely dark, except for my fish and this huge shadowy shape in the background. Interviewer, a shadowy shape? Did it move? Evan W. No, it just loomed there, like it was watching. I tried to quit the game, but nothing worked. The pause button wouldn't respond, and Alt-Tab did nothing. Then the shadow started getting closer, and the screen flashed rapidly, like a strobe light. Interviewer, did this affect you physically? Evan W. Yeah. The flashing was so intense that I got a splitting headache, and I felt nauseous. I think I blacked out for a few seconds because I don't remember when it stopped. When I came to, the game had crashed to the desktop. Interviewer, what happened after the game crashed? Evan W. My computer shut off completely, and when I tried to restart it, it got stuck on the BIOS screen. My parents had to take it to a repair shop. The tech guy said the hard drive was corrupted and asked what I'd been downloading. I didn't say anything because I didn't want to get in trouble. Interviewer, did you experience anything else afterward? Evan W. Yeah. I had a terrible headache and passed out that night. When my parents took me to the doctor, they diagnosed me with a seizure of some sort. I'm not sure if the game caused it though. Below is a fragment of Evan's system event log from the day of the incident, obtained from his family's old hard drive. System log, December 14, 2004. 15 hours 34 minutes and 28 seconds. Application started. Feedingfrenzy.exe. 15 hours 41 minutes and 12 seconds. Error. Audio driver failure. Code 0x0004D3. 15 hours 42 minutes and 47 seconds. Error. Display adapter overload. Code 0x010B9. 15 hours 43 minutes and 30 seconds. Error. Memory spike detected. Source, feedingfrenzy.exe. 15 hours 43 minutes and 48 seconds. Warning, application feedingfrenzy.exe attempting unauthorized access to system32 drivers kbdclass.sys. 15 hours 44 minutes and 1 second. Error, system display unresponsive. Recovered after 3 attempts. 15 hours 44 minutes and 15 seconds. Critical, feedingfrenzy.exe terminated unexpectedly. As someone who enjoys malware, I think Shikake's effects and code are among the most unusual and distinctive things I have ever seen. This is not your typical virus, it differs from the others I have covered. I'm left speechless even by thinking about it. It makes you wonder what types of viruses exist in the wild, whether they are similar or more unusual. We may never know for the time being. In case anyone is curious, I do possess the virus, but I will not make it publicly available due to rumors that the servers will restart at specific times and infect current games. For those statements, I cannot mark them as true or false. For the time being, Shikake remains a very mysterious case in my research. I will leave it here with a friendly reminder to anyone who might stumble upon it. If you do not know what you are doing, do not mess with it.